Well, good morning. Oh, we lost.
I was going to say that
We
seemed like
lost
kind of
Pradeep.
abruptly. Yeah, there he is.
Oh, Pradeep, good morning. How the heck's it going, sir?
Doing good. How are you, Chris? How are you, Kevin?
I'm well. How early is it for you?
5:30 a.m.
Yeah, you're out in the Seattle area, right?
Yes, I am.
Well, thank you so much for getting up early and joining us.
Of course.
Clearly, the first one in the office. There's pitch black behind you. There's no other soul there. So thank you so much. This is fantastic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, be here, and I'm excited.
Yeah, this should be a good one. And good morning to everyone out in the chat. It's good to see everyone. I hope you're having the best day ever. Gosh knows I am. Excited to be here. You know why I'm having the best day ever? Anyone want to take a guess? Kevin?
Because you got an extra hour of sleep last weekend.
Okay, so that may have something to do with it. Oh yeah, if you're ever going to be in at 5 a.m., this is the best week to do it because you've had an extra hour of sleep in theory, right? So
Belinda,
no.
she'd like to fall back every weekend.
Right.
Okay, Aaron is wondering if we had bourbon for breakfast. Yeah,
I got a raise, kind of. I'm going to tell you why. This channel actually has its first affiliate sponsor that is joining us, and that's Hexclad Cookware. So there's actually links down below. If you want to support the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But if you're looking for legitimately the best cookware that has a lifetime guarantee, Hexware is the cookware you should be using. It's actually so funny. I literally just spent over $1,000 buying this stuff, and then a week later they sent over all this stuff for the affiliate stuff. So we actually have like legitimate affiliate sponsors and stuff. So
are you going to put that link in the chat?
I don't know how to do that. In theory, there's links attached to this video someplace. It's my first time doing that. I don't know how to do that.
Okay, we'll have to keep looking for it.
Or I would. Yes, yeah. So, exciting days. And beyond that, though, which I'm excited about the channel being able to have these things. We are here with Pradeep, and we're going to be talking about enhancements to SQL DW, right?
Yep.
That's fantastic. Pradeep, I don't think our audience may not know you, right? We go way back. We used to play Little League together. I think you were shortstop and I played right field. I think that's how that went. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Pradeep, Pradeep, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey guys, I am Pradeep. I own developer experiences in SQL DW in Fabric, and as part of developer experiences, I own the web editor, the Git integration, continuous deployments. I know DAC effects for Fabric DW, and all the first-party tool integrations like SSMS, VS Code, and all of that. So yeah, at any time, if you have any questions, just throw it in the chat and we will try to answer your questions. And cool.
Well, no, that's exactly right. Do make sure you are putting your questions in the chat. Please prefix them with a Q colon so we can make sure we capture them. Pradeep is exactly right. Do make sure you're following Kevin and myself on both LinkedIn and X so you can find us there as well. Pradeep, are you in social media at all? Any place that we should be?
I do. I'm actually in LinkedIn. Yeah, but, you probably can't find me because I'm on a different name, and I have a very long name. So, I'll probably share my profile with you. Yeah, and then we will put it here. But
okay, we'll put in the link and stuff. But ask your questions, and let us know if there's anything going on that side of the house. But we actually have some exciting things coming up. Before we dive into all of that, I want to hit on a few things that are coming up. And gosh, I'm about to share my screen, and this is about to go wonky. And I apologize. I don't know why it does this. Yeah, I don't know why we do this, but okay. New stuff like this. Um, all right, so we've got next week, like next week, 12th, 13th, and 14th, and I should probably zoom in a little bit on this one. Um, there's the Microsoft Analytics Community Conference hosted by the India Fabric Data Warehouse Worldwide. This is going to be starting Eastern time next week at 7 a.m. So I'm speaking on, I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday, the 13th and 14th at 7 a.m. So two different topics out there, but you can go out there and you can sign up for this. This is a free event you can get into. Oh, look at that. I can zoom in.
You can really zoom in.
Yeah. Do check this out. A great place to get a whole bunch of learning. So big shout out to Mitt, Thandu, and Aditya for putting this together. You guys really crushed it. Excited about this one. But more than that, next or a week after next is Microsoft Ignite. Now, Ignite is sold out in Chicago, right? So you can, I mean, unless you know someone who can help you, it is sold out, so you're not going to be able to attend. But you can register online. This honestly, straight up, it's FabCon Europe had a whole bunch of huge announcements on the Microsoft Fabric side. There is one in particular, massive, earth-shaking, foundational shifting update that is going to be announced at Ignite. I can't say anything more than that, but you definitely want to make sure that you go ahead and you register for Ignite online so that you don't miss any of these updates as they're coming out there, because it is going to change the way we are interacting with data, and really, it's just going to really shake things up. All right. Now, crap, I don't know how to, like, go away. There you go. Okay. Sorry about that. The new Restream capabilities are a little, interesting, so, apology there. But
Everybody's getting used to it. I've seen others have the same challenges. So
yeah. So, shout out to Restream. Thanks so much for all these new wonderful features that you've implemented. We're super excited about that. Awesome. So, Pradeep, you own the new warehouse developer experience. Is that right?
Yeah, I own everything under developer experiences. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, what can you tell us about some of the new features that have been introduced into the SQL developer experience?
All right. I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but what I would do is I will talk about the areas that we are investing in,
Mm-hmm.
and we will see the interest of our audience, and we will then, if they have any questions, we can double click on that. But
Okay,
yeah,
fantastic.
so yeah, let's first talk about Fabric Web Editor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first place that any developer is going to start when they talk when we talk about Fabric. Now, we have made a lot of improvements to the web editor itself. We have, it's been a huge work that our team did, and
Mm-hmm.
we recently launched the new web editor, and it is so fast. It is so much better than what we used to have, before, and it is almost a year's work. So you could tell how important it is. We changed the way how we actually work with the editor. When we open up a new SQL, the model layouts. You used to see three buttons below the OE, which is
Mm-hmm.
the the query editor, the model layouts, and then the modeling view, that view has changed, and everything now is like an editor. The model layouts would be an editor. The T-SQL, the T-SQL editor is also a small tab that you could see, and then we have changed everything behind that as well, of course. Now, then we are making a lot of investments in OE. We want to make the web editor a really cool place to find their objects. We want to make sure our developers could
Mm-hmm.
basically search, filter, sort, and apply all the templates, the way they want to do it. And that experience is going to be a lot more cooler, in the near future. We are also making a lot of investments in
Oh, look at this. Dude,
Yeah.
hold on 1 second here. Look at these. Look at this stuff, man. Hold on. So you've why am I what? Ugh. My
First
Zoom
David
is
Zoom it.
yeah, like I'm new here. Sorry, boy.
As you were talking, Chris was showing a lot of but these templates. This is really cool.
Yeah, so like how cool is this, right? Like I want to create a new view. I just do that. Store procedures. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, it's got okay. Here's what I like about this new store procedure template. I know when I was starting out in working as a DBA and working with data and creating a store procedure, I always kind of screwed up the naming of like the creation of parameters and defining them, and then properly using them inside of my select statement. This gets you like all the way there, right? Like, okay, I've got these two params, but now all I have to do is like, if I don't like this one, can I do Control H? Oh, look at that. Holy crap on a cracker. Look at this. So I guess I'm just going to call this Kratos 1, and I can replace them all. Holy cow. Look at this. Replace 2 and 2 and replace all. Oh, look at that. Look how easy that is. This is fantastic. And the same things for the views and the creation of a table. I mean, schemas, this is nice. Oh, do you have... Okay, so just the 4. All right. Hang on. You sped through some amazing things here, okay? So let's first talk about these new things, right? You've got a new SQL query. Okay, I think this is... anything new about this UI that we should be aware of?
Yeah, there is a lot of new stuff that's in here. So we updated the supportability of IntelliSense for the new T-SQL commands that we launched over the past few months. So if you will find, you will find syntax highlighting and help that you need to complete your T-SQL queries, for the new queries. So that's one. Then there is something else that you would really like. If you right click on the editor, you will see something called command palette. How cool is it? It's visual. You'll see that's a VS Code experience right in your web editor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at this.
You can actually do all of your shortcuts. You can actually format. You could, there are a lot of options that you have it here, which are pretty common, but also very useful. And it also provides some sort of documentation and what the key is, shortcut is, and what it does. And if you see, there is something called format. It was not there before.
Format document?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could actually format your SQL statements. You can beautify your SQL statements, which is kind of very cool, because we want to organize our SQL statements, and it's
wait. So I've got an existing query that I wrote this one several years, like a year ago in Fabric. You're saying I can go to format document?
I think so. Yeah, you should select, and then you select the text and format your document.
You
And I
already
think
had it was already well formatted, Chris. You type things
Yeah.
well.
All right. Well, well, good. I'm glad I do this stuff right. That is
You're a professional, right?
yeah.
yeah. Oh, but that's cool. We saw it in action there, But
Yeah.
look how easy it is to pull this stuff up. Oh. Look at this. This just became the query I wrote at the start of this just goes right into my queries just like it used to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to, it auto saves your query, so you don't lose your work. So you don't have to worry about what you
Build a query,
what you have to
drag
do.
your tables here. What is this? Oh, look at
Oh,
that.
it starts building a new visual query. Is this newer?
It's yeah. You want to, if you're if let's say if you are a citizen developer, you don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
write T-SQL queries, but you know how to drag and drop, how to you want to visually do stuff. This is a place, and then you could simply get the T-SQL query out of it and then execute, or
Mm-hmm.
you could just do everything what you could do visually here, and then you execute the query. It does exactly
Wow.
the same thing, but all
Wow.
visually without writing T-SQL.
This
Yeah,
is fantastic, man.
our friend Belinda, who's in the chat, was showing this over the weekend to us, and I know she loves it. We're experimenting with it and getting different SQL out, and we saw it as a way to also help people kind of learn some SQL, right? And kind of look at, like you said, you could develop it all throughout the visual query and get the point and click experience, then come out with something, that you could use later on. So it's
Oh, this
great.
is cool. This is very cool. Uh, all right. So before I'm sorry, I'm going backwards here because we looked at templates before we finished SQL query. I forgot what the heck is this, dude?
Cool.
That's
That
new.
is notebooks are now supporting T-SQL queries. That means you could exactly bring the notebook experience into your data warehouse, which means you could organize your content, not like, unlike your, a single frame, you could actually have a lot of cells, you could comment out your code, you could actually persist. One of the cool experiences that I like in Notebook is you can actually persist the result, and you can document it and you can share it with your colleagues, without actually knowing what it actually, without actually executing the query. So that means again they can do everything that you could do in T-SQL editor, but actually more.
So I got a question onto this point. From a vision standpoint, or maybe it's not even a full vision, but would you see T-SQL notebooks replacing stored procedures in the future? Like, would that be the new development and execution experience?
You actually brought a good point. We want to cater to different personas, so
Mm-hmm.
that means there is there I we do not see stored procedures being taken away anytime soon, or we
Fully
don't
agree
actually
with that. Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
take that, because it's the purpose of the stored procedures is for SQL developers automating their
Mm-hmm.
content, automating their ETL workflows, automating their stuff so that they could run the enterprise systems in the production. But if you want to interactively build something, so you are a data analyst or you are a machine learning developer or data scientist, most of the times you want to visually see what's going on. You want to interact with a lot of visualizations, charts. You want to comment out your code in a way that it is useful. You want to build in a single flow, because when you're building stuff, you want to write multiple SQL statements, and you want to basically break out your work into multiple cells. That's what the
Mm-hmm.
notebook is. So all your interactive queries, all your analysis and exploration, T-SQL notebooks are a great way to do it. And of course, you could also schedule your notebooks like any notebook. It's like any other notebook. It
Yeah.
gives you that ability, and it does not take away what you do in the stored procedure, but it gives you a new ways to interact with the data warehouse. and new ways to submit your queries and new ways to execute. And yeah, and we see this as another option for our data engineers, analysts, and machine you know machine learning and data scientists. And
Yeah.
then yeah, we have to cater more than 1 million developers, who are prominently SQL developers, and God, they love stored procedures.
Oh
And God,
yes, yes, they yeah,
yes,
Yeah.
and to me that's exactly why you pick the data warehouse, right? You got so many people that have a good base skill set in T-SQL, right? And for
Hmm.
speed of moving the project, that could be the right choice, especially early on, right? Moving them
yes.
into Fabric, get them started with what they're used to, right? And then learn the notebooks and the lakehouse while you're still delivering something else, right? And we're seeing that as a very successful method of moving forward on a project. So, yeah, I do like the idea of, I like using notebooks. I've used them a lot in Azure Data Studio, especially
Hmm.
trying to learn the data, right? Exploring it, understanding it, write myself notes, what I found, why. And so that's why I was kind of wondering, like, as a developer experience, I like developing Spark and and Python and in notebooks and then how that looks. And that's why I was kind of thinking, I wonder if this will. I don't want to use the word replace, right? But it's another option for, instead of writing a big long stored procedure that you have these
Yeah.
green code blocks everywhere, you have a more robust markdown language to do your documentation and everything. So I could see it kind of coming in and supplementing, stored
and
procedures.
And you know
Well,
what,
and
Kevin? I tell you that, I'm not going to say it for a lot of features, but we will provide you, we will give you the ability to script out your stored procedure, as in the editor, and then you could convert into a notebook.
Oh wow.
We will do that. And that means, we will break out your SQL statements that you have written in your
Hmm.
T-SQL editor, and that means you don't have to worry between switching editor and notebook experience. We will give you the flexibility to do however you like. So yeah, more
I like
choices to
that.
you, more.
Yeah.
gosh, dang, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I think that actually leads into it's not about the cells question. When can we get notebooks with multi-language support? T-SQL in one cell, Python another, etc. Scala, all that stuff. Is that something we can do now, or is that coming?
Yeah, I think it's coming.
Okay.
The one of the things that we are doing is now, in the past we could not read data warehouse from a Spark notebook. Now we support that. Now there will be a lot more compatibility or interoperability between two engines, between a lakehouse and a warehouse, which means you will see a lot more integration and a lot more interoperability and how we work between the lakehouse and a warehouse. And you already have that. We have T-SQL endpoints for lakehouse that you could actually consume today. So yeah, it could be done in the notebooks now, and it could be done in the Spark layer by just connecting to a lakehouse. So yeah, you will see a lot more cool features around the interoperability between and the languages that you select. And in fact, you can actually switch to a different language on the top in the ribbons. If you see T-SQL, you could switch to Python, and it will change the context.
Okay, but it'll change it. Well, and these things will then break, or how's that? What happens if I click continue?
Yeah, that's an experience that we are working together. But
Okay.
right now, the data warehouse doesn't support. Of course, the data warehouse
Okay.
doesn't support PySpark and all of that. But
Okay.
the ability to give you that flexibility to change to different languages between artifacts is not there. And that's primarily because our developers
It's
are
coming, huh?
SQL based. And I don't think it would be in the exact same in the same view, but it would be in some form or in some fashion. But yeah,
Well, but hang on. I want to show you. There is something that we can do in here that just playing. I saw I can add other warehouses and lake houses into this notebook and run queries against all of them.
you can not only add other warehouses, or lake houses SQL endpoints. But if you have a mirror database SQL endpoints, you can add them too, as long as you have, and then you could actually, write queries.
Can I?
So that allows you to connect the ones across workspaces.
No, right? Not
Okay,
right
right
now.
now
If
it's all within the same workspace.
all within the same workspace, but we are providing, a little teaser, something about shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that will provide that will enable the cross workspace queries.
Okay,
Okay,
so
okay.
hang on
So
one second
it'll
here.
be within the shortcut experience.
So I've got my fact table,
Mhm.
right? And this is all live, folks. So like, oh, from. Right. So I've got this, right? So this executes and this works fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all good. Can I now join over to my customer table that was at my top here?
In a different data warehouse in the same workspace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy
you can.
crap on a cracker.
You don't even need to, as long as you have permissions to that
Yeah,
item.
yeah.
You,
So
you absolutely
left
can.
join DC on FRS dot, what is it? Customer key.
I would say on one equals one. So
dot. Now I actually don't know if the customer key is in this. Now I think about it, because I have reseller sales. I think I'm doing the wrong query here. So hold on. I don't have reseller. Dim product. This is holy crap on a cat cracker.
Belinda's wondering if that's a technical term. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is definitely. Crap on a cracker is a technical term. Originates in Wisconsin, deep within Wisconsin culture.
Well, while we're watching him,
Sorry, yeah,
type
you're
out
watching me
SQL,
type here, but like this is
the
super
point
riveting
being, right,
stuff.
is currently within the same workspace, you could use the analytics endpoint from anything, from a lake house, from a mirror that's in the same workspace, and
I
then
did it. A
what's
lake house and warehouse interjoin query. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. That's a left join. Just do join.
that's all right. A join experience.
Ah, there's no join.
That's why you got the left join. You got data
Yeah.
because you left joined it. But yes, of course.
All right, but that worked too, right? Because that means I
Yeah.
had no
You had no
conforming
matches.
dimension there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Wow, that is absolutely fantastic here. That is awesome. Oh, yeah.
And so with
Crap
these
on crackers.
T-SQL notebooks, we could orchestrate them in a pipeline, just like we can a Spark notebook. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could orchestrate your T-SQL notebooks in a pipeline. You could actually schedule your T-SQL notebooks. If you have just a single T-SQL notebook, you could schedule them as one-off notebooks using job schedulers.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And then there's that newer experience with the newer Fabric org apps that a notebook can be put into an org app. I'm assuming these. I mean, because everything about them works just like what we're used to on the Python or the Lakehouse side notebooks, right? So we could put them in the org app as well.
I do not know. I need to follow up, and
We might have to mess with that. I would assume so, right? I mean, because
I think so too.
Yeah, the
it's
goals,
very natural.
Yeah.
It's a natural, and that's how it needs to be. But I just don't have that information.
Yeah, just I haven't tried it. But I mean, it sounds like, right, because it just starts from a notebook, setup. So you would think it would all work, but we'll have to look into that one.
Oh, dude, this is just absolutely fantastic. I am so excited about this. Okay, we're talking about the warehouse AdventureWorks UI experience.
Mm-hmm.
We went through these. We talked about these, have we made updates in query activity? Look at this.
We are actually working, our team is actually working to improve query activity. We want to add a few more, some more information into this to make it more actionable, so, and make it, we want to provide you a profile for each query so that, every user who is using this, actually, can actually do something about it if their query fails or if something happens, if there's something bad happens. And that's exactly what our team is working on, but I can't talk about it a lot. But yeah, but you'll be excited in a few weeks. Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, this is that's great. What the heck is this?
Oh, that's yeah. Have you ever heard of database projects, SSDT or
Yeah.
BackFX? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You could actually download a database project, a SQL database project, directly from the Fabric, and you could use your favorite tool, VS Code, and just connect it.
That is my favorite tool. I love doing this, and I never
Oh,
used to
that
download because I use my Git repository, right?
okay.
Yeah. And do you know what? You don't need to use that option if your workspace is already enabled with Git integration. That
Mm-hmm.
means you could actually do what you're doing in VS Code, actually, using Git integration. You could actually do it in you could do it in your data warehouse project. We treat your Fabric data warehouse in the Fabric workspace as a database project, and
Mm-hmm.
you will the look and feel is exactly the same. But yeah, the
Yeah.
Git integration is a lovely feature that I super duper like.
Yeah, I do too. So, I mean, just yesterday, the project that I'm working on, we decided to refactor a couple of dimensions, and which would impact the fact table. We're just early on in the development, right? And so I told us, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. We're using Git and branching out to feature or story workspaces and stuff like that. But I did all my changes over in VS Code first. It ended up being like 15 files that I
Oh,
ended up having changed, and then push them all. Once I got them all, my syntax all worked out, push them all at once through Git, and it updates the whole database all at one time. I mean, it makes it go a whole lot faster. What you do?
I just put this all into Git, and like,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, so I can't do some of these reports, but I bet I can do. Can I do some of these?
I think so. Now,
You
yeah,
should be able to do everything.
it should be able to do, all of the items in Fabric should be supporting Git at this point.
What's the show details say? So this is Copilot test. It's a report.
Okay, so not Copilot test. Okay, that's fine. Maybe it's because I had some. Maybe there's some weird Copilot things going on there. Though that is some of the first Copilot reports that ever existed on the planet Earth. So, like, I did a live stream, or I did a video like the day this was released, and I tried that out. So, those are day one reports. So who knows what's going on there? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
look at
So
this.
while
And I can track it here too. That's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and you wanna take them. You wanna switch to Azure DevOps repository and see how this would show up. It's exactly like a database project.
you want to know a simple way? I found this the
Yeah.
other day. Go back to your Power BI
Yeah.
and click on source control,
Yeah.
and
And
then you see how main is a link when it comes back up. Click on main. No, stay on that tab.
Oh.
The one before. Let it come up. Gotta give
Okay.
it the interface. Give it a second. It's going to show you your current branch is main, and see main is a link.
yep,
Click on that.
go that. That's
It's
it.
super fast to get to your DevOps repository.
Shut the front door.
I know. I found that the other day. I was like, because I was doing it the way you were initially. I was navigating over, looking at all that, but man, it's like boom, one click and you're there.
And a quick teaser on that, and that's a paper cut that we are working on. We want to make it super simple, and you could actually navigate to your ADO repository within warehouse so that you don't have to come to workspace and do it. So going
Mhm.
forward at some point, if you go to your warehouse, on the bottom left corner, it says it is get
Oh, it's in the
integrated.
main. It was already updated. I'm sorry. I thought it was going to have to hit refresh.
Oh, you don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you will see the commit number and the link to the commit, and that will directly take you to the repository, from your warehouse.
Am I not on my warehouse?
Yeah, you are right now in your
Oh, that's
warehouse.
Lake House.
Yeah.
I got too many things going on here. I'm too excited. I'm
You're just clicking away,
like mad here.
clicking away, and
It's cause all sorts of issues. Okay, so I'm in my warehouse. Where do I go to see that? Is it?
Oh, yeah, I'm saying you don't see that today, and we want
Oh,
to. We will do that so that you don't have to go to workspace in order to switch between your ADO repository and Fabric workspace or the warehouse. That switching becomes a lot more easy. We will reduce your click tax. We don't
Gotcha.
want you to switch to workspace and then go to repository and come back to warehouse. That involves at least a 5 to 10 seconds interval. We want to make your life easy. And right
oh
now you
yeah.
have to come here in order to do that. And sometimes it takes a lot, because if you have a lot of items in your in your workspace, I know it needs to bring all of that information. Yeah.
So,
So I could tell you, this is not a click. Well, to me, this isn't a click tax because it was so much more painful all of the other times going out to this. So this is awesome.
yeah, that little link was nice. So let me ask a little bit more on that. Are you saying like when I open up the warehouse and I see all my tables, all my objects there, and I'll be able to see more about the GitHub repository? Will I
Yeah.
be able to see like a compare, like, hey, I changed a table that's not committed yet. Will I be able to see those changes, or is that something you guys are
You.
thinking of?
Yeah. Actually, we are making some investments there. You would actually see, like what you would
Mm.
see if you have a Git integration, where you could
Mm-hmm.
actually, in VS Code, you could actually go to your your Git extension, and then you could compare your code. You could identify the differences. Yeah, you would see a
Yeah.
lot. We would actually bring that experience into the warehouse, and that's currently in works. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gosh
The
darn,
main
is this awesome?
one of the main things that I've noticed is, because I like working in VS Code, and we could talk a little bit more about that a little bit. But and then when I push my changes up, then all of a sudden I'll have a a change on the service, and I'm like, what do you mean? I just updated my repository, but it seems like sometimes it's changing format, right? The way that it wants the DDL to look like and everything. And so I always kind of wonder about that. It's like, well, I accept them and I commit them, and then I go look over on Azure DevOps and see what changed. And that's how I know it's just formatting and stuff like that. But yeah, to see that before I even accept that commit, it would be wonderful.
Would be, yeah, it would be a game changer. I would, as a developer, I would like I would love to do that. Otherwise, I have to make more commits, making my branch
Hmm.
lot more heavier, and then I need to do squash merge, or I need to come. I have to condense my commits, which is we don't want to make that. We don't want to make our developers' life difficult, because the same. We don't want to make them the same change. A lot of times it has to be in probably in one single shot. So yeah, absolutely.
So another thing I just noticed the other day, and now I have my team doing this. It's actually going to be part of our pull request acceptance. Is the shared queries are stored within that database project. And so what I now ask for them to do is, they're putting a new table in or whatever. I'd like to see some type of, especially if it's complex, like how do you join these things together or whatever. put that shared query in there so we have some type of documentation of how this table is expected to be used, or other things that you've kind of looked at it. Sometimes we'll put things in the code that'll throw errors if we're finding errors, but some things we don't want to really throw an error, but we want to have a quick query to see, did we hit this condition, right? And think about putting that in as a warning system down the road, but at least we capture these things. So the shared queries, I'm loving that. Is there any improvements coming to the shared queries, like maybe put folders into that or something?
We are actually, there is actually a, there is actually a feedback in ideas as we see it, that the users actually want some custom organization, folder organization within shared queries, and they want to share those folders, deep link with their consumers. The IT team wants to share those specific queries. Hey, we built you a beautiful data warehouse, now it's time to use now. But I don't know, data analysts do not know where to go. And then they will put some queries in that custom folder. They want to organize their folders by their projects or by their queue, the scenarios, and then they just share that. And boom, once I share that, then
Right.
the analysts don't worry about everything else. They just go to that folder, look at all the queries, they can execute each query that they are interested in, and and they can get started, and then get started without worrying about what they need to do. And
Right.
we have that feedback, and we are actually looking for a little bit more feedback in that space. It needs a little bit more words, and it needs some more considerations that we are thinking about, and we need a lot more feedback. So yeah, I would absolutely love to invest in that space, and I'm actually monitoring that specific feed, the ideas feed. And we will, once we have enough threshold, we will definitely make those improvements. And that's one. And then we are making other changes to queries itself, from the Git integration and CI/CD point of view, that people would love, which I can't talk about it, and you will see a lot more in after post Ignite or post
Yeah.
in the new year.
Yeah, well, I know from what I see, right, those shared queries, they come down with my database projects, and now when I pull back down and get in Visual Studio Code, now I got those queries to run right there, and I'm loving that. Right, so I got the same queries up on the service as I have on my desktop, and it's super easy. Like I said, I think I've seen that before, but it just kind of hit some realization on, hey, we could really improve things by doing this. So it's wonderful.
So the good part I see, the way we are observing the customers using shared queries, is that it's not actually the developers who are using the shared queries. It's actually the consumers who would be more interested in the shared queries. That means, as part of my development, I build all the shared queries that could be consumed by downstream applications or downstream application consumers. And those consumers don't need to worry about how to get those queries. And there is a collaboration space that is provided by Warehouse by default. And you just, as soon as it's available in a production environment or in a testing environment, I don't have to physically share my queries in a folder or
Right.
in somewhere else and say, hey, you go and execute it. And that collaboration becomes now a lot more easier from the development to testing and to production. That means we can actually organize, standardize, and then make it available so that our downstream consumers could benefit from it. And they can, of course, they can create duplicate these queries, and they can write their own set of queries within their folder, within my queries, or within shared queries. But yeah,
I think it's going to help developers a lot more than they're going to admit, because when they write them, they're like, oh, well, I know all this, but then 6 months later, and they're trying to remember, why did I put this table together this way? Or they're going to use it, right? But it's the same thing. Like you said, the consumers get a great benefit from them at first, right? Because it helps you with your training. And if they forget, here's a set of shared queries to go get started with. But yeah, developers 6 months down the road or a year down the road will forget why they did something, and that shared query is going to help again. They won't admit it though. So,
all right. Well, I want to go back to a question that Alex had before about Pradeep. What's your favorite way to get data into Warehouse, and why is it Dataflow Gen 2?
I expect this from Alex. Hey Alex, good morning. I love data flows, Gentoo, and there are so many ways that we want to get the data into warehouse. And you know what? We don't even we are building cool features that you will see in really 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 quick in the next few months, that you don't actually bring in data. You don't actually need to load your data, and you will see so many
Mm.
announcements coming in the future that we will provide. Hey, you want for warehouse, for a very long time, bringing in data from upstream sources is a huge challenge. They need to prepare the data in a way that they could consume in the warehouse. So we will make that life so much easier through our development experiences, so that the way they bring in the data, the way they actually ingest the data, and we will open up so many options, and that would help them to you know quickly quickly ingest, or quickly load, or quickly
Mm.
virtualize, and just get started with your data.
Well,
Ooh,
that's
that sounds.
fantastic. That sounds great. But I want to preface like why Alex is saying this. And I had to quickly put this together. But one of the things I absolutely love in Power Query is, and you can kind of see this now on my screen,
I was gonna say
is we have the ability to see the quality of every
That's
single column inside of my load and inside of my process flows. I absolutely love this, so that at a glance I can understand the quality of the data that I'm working with. What is it going to take to get that functionality right here, right on my queries,
mm.
right on anything that I'm doing inside a warehouse? Can we bring that functionality along? I would love to know more about the data that I'm looking at, just like how Power Query has it. Can we just make that? Can you make that a thing?
Oh well. Yeah, that's a really good idea. you know i i i I would
Ideas.fabric.com.
ideas.fabric.com. We will love to see that, and we would love to see how our customers wants to bring in. And thanks, Chris, for bringing that up. And that is super super helpful. And the way we want to think about is through ideas. We need more words. We need your help to understand what is most important to you, and we will definitely get that. If
Yeah.
that's what you want, that's what you will get, and more.
So right here, this is what I want to see on all of my queries everywhere I look. I want it in warehouse. I want it in notebooks. I just want this by default. I want to understand the health of the data that I'm looking at everywhere I go, so that I can build good data cultures, good understandings of my data. And yeah, that's and I'm happy to take it bit by bit, but it's in Power Query. I want to see this in other places, so we just get better handling of data.
So
Uh,
let me ask you a question.
yeah.
How does it help you, so that our viewers know exactly how it needs to be used, and how would you? So I have two questions. How would it help you if you bring that into warehouse, and
Hmm.
what would you do with that information if it is in your warehouse? Let's say if it is available, you wave a magic wand, it'll be available tomorrow, and how would you use it?
Oh, so yeah, let me talk through how I would use it. Number one, I would be watching for these empty cells, right? How many tables or how many fields am I actually interacting with that are empty? Now, I want more than just like if I query top 1000 or something like that, I guess it has to be there, but you're only going to display 1000 if I query it or whatever, right? You're only going to query display so many. I want to see like the health of the data that I'm looking at. I'd also want to see if I've got errors on anything that I'm interacting with, especially if the data's out of. Now, in a warehouse, we've got tight data
Yeah, I was
typing.
gonna say, what would be
Um,
an error because it's already tightly bound.
well, maybe warehouses never have this, so you're not going to see it
Yeah.
on a warehouse field, but on a lake house, you start to get that type of variation or validation where it's just not there, right? Like maybe you have fields that are null, right? And maybe that's the empty thing is.
Well, I could see it like if you're looking at if you're saying integrate this with the analytics endpoint of the lakehouse,
Mhm.
we had somebody store things as a JSON type,
Yep.
and then that wouldn't
Mhm.
open in the analytics endpoint, right? And so that would be now there's errors, right? But it wasn't errors within the cell; it was errors within the table for the analytics endpoint.
Right, right. And like here, this tells me I've got a key, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
just a key by name, but by key by reality. And I have no nulls on it, right? So that means I'm not dealing with a bad key that we're not seeing unique records on everything. I want to see that. I would also love to see if I've got like some default values for -1, -2s, or even those -3s that I've seen on a handful of occasions. It'd be great if we were able to understand that so we could see what the quality of our joins to that dimension is. Is it at like 99% is uniquely matched and only 1% is coming up in the ones? Right. I'd love to be able to see those types of things about my data. I think we could go on and on here. I would also think that, or I would also want to be able to know this so that this would give me cues on any data cleansing and data enrichment capabilities I would need to have on any of my queries, right? So maybe the first few that I'm looking at, it look, oh yeah, there's always values here. But if my empty value is like 98% or it's
Mm-hmm.
60% or something, maybe I'm doing a join wrong, or I've got my data's not as clean as I wanted to. I have to go through and enrich it, right? Like there's so many data management activities I would do with this stuff if I had this available everywhere.
Really good feedback. Thanks, Chris. Yeah,
Yeah.
And
we
this is
want.
recorded, so you can bookmark it. It's 26 minutes in.
Chris will open the ideas and put the link over to it. So
Absolutely love
I
that.
know
Yeah.
we only have like a couple minutes left, and I'd like to venture into some of the external tools. Right, we brought up Visual Studio Code a little bit, but you're responsible for the interactions between the external tools as well. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
the
partner with
first
them.
party tools, all first party tool integrations. SSMS. You're going to see
Hmm.
huge investments for Fabric DW in SSMS. So
Nice. Yeah, it'd
yeah,
be nice if it could just kind of like automatically find them, like how like how it looks at my Azure tenant for SQL databases, right?
yeah,
Look at Fabric for or the workspaces or the endpoints that it could connect to.
yeah,
Um, like I said, I work in Visual Studio Code most of the time. I do have one very specific question on this one.
sure.
Why, when I do a SQL connection in Visual Studio Code, it cannot show me my stored procedures?
Wah, wah, wah.
Uh-oh. I love everything else about it, right? But I always got to go back to my database, right? And I'm using Git and Seeking. I got to go look at my database project to understand the stored procedure, to where, like in SSMS, I could just click on, tell it to script it, and look at what's currently there.
Mhm.
I can't do that in Visual Studio
That's really
Code.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah,
sorry, that's a
It's
setup
coming.
question. You don't have to. It's coming.
yeah,
That's all I need to know.
yeah.
Yeah. That's.
There are a lot of investment. So the first thing is, we are looking at our tools, and
Mm-hmm.
we are seeing at our tools from our developers point of view. And it has been a long time in the data warehouse edition since we are making these kinds of improvements that we are doing now. It's been several years that SQL, the SSMS experiences have been improved for the developers,
Yeah.
and SSMS is a widely used tool. So yeah, we want to fully make SSMS, the first party integration, compatible with Fabric DW, and we want to fully make the VS Code, for developing your database projects,
Mm-hmm.
and make your life easy as developers when you're using Git integration, because VS Code already has all those extensions. All we have to do is just making the SQL experiences better using SQL extension. As we do that, then
Yeah.
that will improve the experience multifold. But yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I know they just updated that extension, what, about a week or so ago? And I mean, I like the improvements that I've seen. So yeah,
Yeah.
All
just
right.
always
I'm
looking for
sorry,
more.
but
So, but yeah,
we're out of time. I want to give I want to give you the last words here. So Pradeep, if you have one thing to say to people before we go, what tip or advice would you like, or what would you like for the audience to know before we go?
So know that we are, we will. Yeah. First of all, thanks so much, Chris and Kevin, for your time. I really, really appreciate giving me a platform to provide, teasers and things that we are doing in this, in the Fabric database data warehouse world. And I would love to do this many more times in the future. And I really, really appreciate it. And and so much thanks for it. And second, for our audience, for our Fabric developers, the most important thing for me is to make sure the developer experience, for our Fabric warehouse developers, SQL developers, data engineers who are
Mhm.
using Fabric data warehouse, I want to provide the best experience. And we are making so many investments. And going forward, you would actually see a lot of blogging from me. You would see monthly updates. You would see even weekly updates in a few months, depending on how big we are releasing. But we are investing heavily in developer experiences, and we want to make sure our developers' life a lot easy when they use Fabric Data Warehouse and SQL Analytics Endpoint. And that's
Awesome.
one that's a point I want to make across. And you would see a lot more. And at any point in time, if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, just reach out to me on my LinkedIn, and reach out to through Kevin and Chris, and I'm happy to work with you, happy to collaborate with you and understand your pain points. And we want to improve our product a lot better, and we want to make your experience, the Fabric developers experience, life so much easier than what it is today. And I completely understand the challenges that you have, but just bear with us and give us a few
Yeah.
months, and absolutely you would love the things that we are
Well,
going to do.
I know it's been on the right direction, so that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much, Kevin, Pradeep. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you guys for being here in the chat and participating in this. That's why we do it, is because we love connecting with you guys. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget Hexclad Cookware, links somewhere. You guys have the best weekend ever. All right, peace.
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 Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.